So this is a game Ottomans versus Byzantines, or the Byzantine civilization. It's on the lakeside map. This is one of the, I believe it's a newer map. I certainly haven't played it a lot. I'll go through the introduction fairly speedily. 2 on gold as per usual, very early, and then everyone else on food until I get 1 on wood. That gives me feudal age quite quickly. And then concentrating on wood to get that house that you need to get, ideally before, but if necessary just after feudal age. Scouting around at the same time. This is a ranked match, so I've only got 1 opponent this time. I've been enjoying playing a couple of games with just standard games with numerous opponents, and a few allies as well, which has worked quite well. So they're a bit slow to reach feudal. In fact, to be honest, very slow to reach feudal. Although statistically I seem to be not doing quite as well. Again, I'm always rushing castle, so here we are, getting 3rd age, castle age, ready to go, putting 17 villagers on castle, not least because I noticed while scouting around here that they've got a couple of horsemen lurking about and almost certainly preparing to raid, which would not surprise me at all. I've placed the outpost, I think, in probably what should be the best location. Yeah, so they're coming in and raiding now, pretty much on cue. How quick am I at... So I've started researching the springboard emplacement, which is the main kind of emplacement I use, really. I actually think arrow slits are almost pointless at this point. I rarely use these now, unless I'm kind of thinking that maybe villagers will come around and I'll need to... Like, they're okay against villagers, but they're just... Against pretty much everyone else, they're a bit useless. I don't think... Yeah, I messed this up slightly. And I accidentally... I've done that a few times this game. I accidentally click everyone, rather than just the people that, you know, I'm meant to click, kind of thing. And then I messed this up as well, obviously. That was silly. It's not the end of the world. I don't actually... If my adversary was kind of super amazing, then maybe it would be the end of the world, but to be honest, it wasn't that hard a game, I would suggest. It was a good game, and they weren't too bad, but... But I think what they did wrong is they wasted a little bit of time and resources on... I'm just messing around now, it's just it's slightly idiotic, to be honest. They go again, you know, but once you've got a nice outpost, you're really needing to push that with siege equipment, otherwise you're just wasting resources, to be honest. So, as I say, I'm now castle and they're still feudal, and they've, I would suggest, wasted resources on not particularly successful raiding efforts. Now, I have to admit, in this game I'm pretty slow at making military units. I get the military schools up fairly, okay, but because I'm a bit slow on collecting the wood, I do have a bit of a scout as well, to just see. I actually am thinking right now whether it would be worth just creating no villages at all, no real army to speak of at all, and going over and just dumping a Seagate castle next to their town centre. I probably could have done it, but I was a little bit too nervous to do it, because I think that might have won the game at like 15 minutes in. if I'd have decided to go that route. Instead I decided to put together a little bit of an army, at least. This is clever. It's clever, but it's like, I think it's overthinking. It's like it's like almost a fun idea, but I think you're overthinking it. Yes, that would be really, and it does come in handy, and like the plan does do some damage. Obviously, I'm completely oblivious to the fact they've put a group of soldiers there. I think they presume I'm going to go heavy on the gold vein, but I just don't. I start to collect this gold instead, and that's a little bit unlucky from their point of view, to be honest. Maybe if I'd have massively gone all in on this gold vein. They've killed that villager, have they? It's actually not, not completely clear what. It looks just like he's kind of having a kip, doesn't it? So that becomes obvious. For some reason, I don't move these villagers, and that is obviously slightly moronic. At the same time, so I see that and I go, you know what, I need to move. They pincer move me, which is fair enough. That's quite good, and I deal with it badly, very badly. I admit, deal with it very badly. It allows them to take out 4 villagers, was that? And then start to take these villagers out as well. Oh, I'm very slow here. I just ring the bell because it's just easier. And then this army is chasing this group off. They're going to the transport ship. They do manage to take out quite a number of villagers here, which is obviously annoying. This kind of shows that I'm not really on it with my speed of macro, essentially. So randomly put a mangonel right in front of the horseman. Probably not the best idea in the world. But saying all this, like, I create the I don't normally do this, but I use the Janissary Company because, it's just easier for me to get a load of Janissaries right there. This group retreats. They're just fighting a wolf there, wasn't they? And luckily, actually just before that raid, I move off the gold mine and chuck loads of people on this gold, so they kind of are doing their thing and completely ignoring what's happening, which is allowing me to get quite a lot of gold, especially compared to them, but also at the expense of everything else. Yeah, so they're building up a force again. Just speed it up for a second. Obviously learn the hard way that I'm actually starting to want to get into it a little bit more, get into my stride a little bit more. Start to move these villages. So it's 36, including that one. This guy's just built a bit of a tower for a marginal amount of protection for those farms. I'm not going to bother building walls or anything. Can't really be bothered. I've also let a few villagers die to this wolf, who's successfully living up to his bitey infantry name. So I just wanted to whack up a tower down here to see in advance if they're going to attack these mines. So this is a reasonable force now. 25 Janissaries, 12 men-at-arms, 12 spearmen, 2 mangonels. I could probably take out... I would expect this to be able to take out what they're... And they've seen me coming, obviously, so they... Presumably that's why they've decided to randomly start putting up loads of towers. Doesn't really help. I go for the Seagate Castle manoeuvre. Obviously the Janissaries, I've now got 25 of them, and they've got a lot of damage against cavalry, even though these cataphracts are very, very good. I think they might be the best cavalry in the game, but they just don't have the numbers to withstand this push. At the same time, though, well, partly the reason perhaps is that they're still doing this tactic of trying to come around the back, which is kind of a fun tactic, and like it deserves kind of praise as a tactical or a strategic kind of effort to take me unawares. But really, I would suggest, in my view, quite often these things that seem quite fun, and I mean seem quite sensible, are actually a bit of a waste of resources. Like, just a lot of effort to put that dock up and go for this kind of manoeuvre, and you've only got a space for 15 people, unless you're 16 people, unless you're gonna build numerous. So I can understand the kind of pincer move idea. I can't really understand the just let's chuck 13 units to kill some villagers over here, unless you're really thinking it's going to be quite a long game, and that obviously doesn't come to pass. So I don't think I even take the villagers away just because I'm not concentrating on what's going on down here. They're not actually attacking the villagers, they're attacking this farm. They have an issue with that farm, fair enough. Seagate Castle's not in the perfect position, but it's in a kind of good enough position, right? So there we are. Fairly quick end to that game. Fun though.